present here. Bangalore city of pleasant weather, beautiful parks and many lakes have evolved gradually from being the garden city to the Silicon Valley of India. Our college hosts webinars every weekend to spread awareness in the form of awareness program. Before we start, I would like to inform all the participants that at the end of the event, a feedback link will be posted in the chat box. I request the participants to fill it and upon which online certificates will be provided. We have gathered here for one such awareness program on the topic Who Owns Bengaluru? I request Dr. D. Parameshwar Nayak sir to welcome the online gathering. Over to you, sir. Sir, you're muted.
Sorry, sir. Okay. Good evening to one and all. It's my proud privilege to welcome cordially to webinar series 8 organized by Environmental Society of India in association with Green Lions Club, KLE Societies Law College, Bangalore. I welcome today's speaker, Dr. Asha Krishna Swami. She is an independent journalist and media trainer. Today she is going to speak on the topic, Who Owns Bangalore? On behalf of Association and KLE Law College, I welcome you, madam.
Thank you.
I cordially welcome Professor A.N. Elapareddy, who is a renowned environmentalist, who is supportive for the, to conduct a continuous webinar series. On behalf of association, I welcome you, sir. I heartily welcome Professor Teacher Renuka Prasad, sir, who is a professor and former coordinator, Bio Park, Bangalore University. On behalf of organizing community, I welcome you, sir. I take this opportunity to welcome Professor J.M. Mallikarjunaya, Principal, KLE Societies Law College. I welcome you, sir. I extend a warm welcome to Dr. Sunita. She is coordinator for this webinar series. I welcome you, ma'am. I extend welcome to Professor Anusha, Tanmay Patil, and the staff members of KLE Law College. I extend heartily welcome to the participants, environmentalists, senior professors, and media friends. Once again, I welcome one and all. Thank you.
Sunita ma'am, please introduce the guest to all the participants. You are on mute.
Mute ಆಗಿದೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ.
Again, you are on mute, ma'am. We are not able to hear your voice. Still not audible, ma'am.
Sunita, madam. Unmute. ಅನ್ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
ಏನೋ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಗಿದೆ.
Sir, you have a script of the introduction about her.
Hello, now you are able to hear me?
Yes, yes.
ಮಾತಾಡಿ.
Okay, sir. So good evening to all the participants who are present in this webinar event. It's my great pleasure to introduce our guest speaker, Dr. Asha Krishnaswamy, an independent journalist, political analyst, and media trainer. She has worked for Deccan Herald as a journalist for many years and later walked out of and became an independent media personality. She has obtained her PhD degree from the University of Mysore in communication and journalism. She did her master's in journalism and communication from Manipal, a certificate course in investigation journalism from BBC. She functioned as a special correspondent or assistant editor, heading political reporting section of Deccan Herald Daily, Bangalore. Before joining the Deccan Herald, she was a publicity and information officer for a short time at All India Institute of Speech and Hearing, Mysore. She was a casual English announcer in All India Radio, Bangalore. She was in charge of a departmental magazine of Social Welfare Advisory Board, Karnataka. A long stint with Deccan Herald, joined as a trainee and moved out as a political bureau head. She has her personal blog, Ashavada Word, .wordpress.com. She has worked on the state, general, and business desk of Deccan Herald before moving into the reporting section. She has functioned as a chief reporter, combining both political and city section for nearly 15 years. She has covered day-to-day news and in-depth on various topics, including mainly the Secretariat, government departments, industry and commerce, finance department, education, culture, city development, and write-ups, editing, and analysis work. She has actively contributed to the web edition of Deccan Herald and now a political columnist. She has authored more than 500 reports in Deccan Herald. Dr. Asha Krishnaswamy regularly participates in the television and radio debates related to current issues as a political analyst. She has delivered many special lectures and interacted with media students on invitation. She has authored and 6 research papers on social development and communication. She has authored and edited many books. She has delivered talk on media and women organized by Mass Communication Department, Bangalore University, trends in reporting at Siddhartha Medical Studies, Tumkur, and she has also given a special lecture on sand mining or looting at Tumkur University, democracy and politics. Also, she has reported a series of investigative reports on Bellary illegal mining. So her achievements are she is a winner of Commonwealth Harry Britain Fellowship in 1997 from England. She has bagged fellowships thrice to attend media workshop conducted by Center for Science and Technology, headed by Ms. Sunita Narayan. She is a winner of a CSE fellowship to attend Climate Change Summit Copenhagen and bagged fellowship to attend a media workshop conducted by Bank Information Center, headquartered in Washington, to sensitize media persons regarding international funding agencies and their focus in 2006. So covered NAM in 2003 at Kuala Lumpur when Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee was a prime minister. In 1996, she visited Singapore to cover Trade and Food Festival. She studied bus rapid transit system in 3 cities of South America and Brazil in 2006, visited South Africa on invitation by government to study political system and tourism sector in 2008. In 2018, she visited Philippines and Taiwan to write features of tourist destinations. In 2011, visited Shanghai to cover a business event. Once again, I welcome you, madam. Over to you, madam.
Thank you. Good evening to everybody. Shuru Madanwa now.
Yes,
Shall I go ahead?
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody else to join, or should we be waiting, or can we go ahead?
We can go ahead.
Okay. And then I profusely thank the organizers for being very polite while coordinating with me. My special thanks to Mr. Dr. Renuka Prasad, as well as um, one former Prajavani lady journalist, Ms. Mundaje, Rohini Mundaje, who was in touch with me to invite me for the program. So I wish I had Mr. Yellappa Reddy on the, I don't think he has joined. He's a sort of mentor to me when it comes to environment ecology issues. From very many years, I have been in touch with him. When I was a cub reporter, I started interacting with him, and through him, I could see many layers of Bangalore, many angles I could explore Bangalore, and he taught me a lot, and my pranams to him. So today's topic is who owns Bangalore. I'm a Bangalorean and 100% Kannada nanu hutti ಬೆಳೆದಿರೋದು. So I'm very fond of Bangalore, and I'm a Bangalorean. So that explains a lot. Next slide. Next slide. Anusha. So let me start with this. Every day I read this, and this explains a lot. And today what we are lacking today is coordinated effort, and these kind of sayings always keep us reminding how we should be connected to our surroundings. Next slide. Next slide. Yeah. See, today I don't believe in giving any sermons, or I don't think that I know much more than you, but we can discuss some points to ponder. Today I have certain statistics to share with you. As you said, there are lots of students also have joined. So let me give a very brief picture about Bangalore. As you see on the screen, the city census report says we have population of nearly 96.22 lakhs. Bangalore city, it must have touched more than, or it must have crossed a crore now. 1.2 it says when I did last research, but it must have gone up definitely, unless the COVID has pulled down the population very drastically. The population was 65.34 lakhs in 2001, and the decadal growth between 1 and 11 is 47.18. It's mind-blowing, the population growth. Bangalore's density of population is 4,381 per kilometer, whereas as a comparison, if you see at Mysore, it is just 476. So there is a huge difference that shows the pressure on Bangalore. And that also speaks about the employment availability in other cities, what we call tier 2 and 3 cities. If jobs are not generated, for whatever may be the reasons, cities, the city, Bangalore city will continue to take pressure. People, even during the last 1.5 years, COVID pandemic time, we are seeing a lot of migration back to Bangalore. People are coming back. That is because uneven growth is there among the cities in Karnataka. It basically boils down to job opportunities. So if there are jobs available in Belgaum, people move out. If jobs are available in Hubli, yes, they go out. If there are no jobs, then it is not just because of Bangalore weather people are here. It is the labor class. I don't think they come here only for weather's sake. It is for their daily earnings. So the density of population is too high here, and then naturally there is a lot of problems. The city doesn't have a perennial water source. Unfortunately, the rivers which were earlier live over decades, they have died. So we get water from quite a long distance, from nearly 160 kilometers. Next slide. I'm not going to explain the same thing. Next.
Ma'am, there is some kind of
Anusha?
disturbance. Yes, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yeah. Can you
there
go
is-
to the next? Yeah. So
There is-
Bangalore,
ma'am, excuse me,
a
ma'am.
mega city.
Kindly,
There's a third.
ma'am,
Yes.
there is some kind of disturbance. Sorry to disturb you at this point. Some kind of disturbance coming at your end, background. Maybe fan or what? I don't know. You have put on the fan.
Yeah, it is on. You want me to
Switch off, ma'am, because some kind of disturbance along with your voice.
Okay, okay. One second.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Is it better now?
Yes,
Anusha?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Bangalore is the third most populous city and the fifth most populous urban agglomeration in India. So sadly, it is no more whatever we used to call it, Lake City, Pensioners Paradise, all those things we have lost. And the recent gain was IT City. Even that, Hyderabad is competing, and then Pune is also doing well. So, we don't have any tax except the city is nowadays, get associated with the garbage. Defining boundaries of Bangalore is a big task because it has grown manifold. In all directions, it has grown. So old Bangalore used to have a lot of agriculture land. That's why, we had orchards even today, Upper Orchard, Eden Garden, Shamanna Garden. We have a lot of gardens in Bangalore. Still, that name is there, but though we don't have gardens, but we can't be proud of green cover anymore. Though we have retained garden tag, we don't have green cover. I mean, not much left. Still, we can draw solace saying that we are better than many other cities in India. Whenever I travel outside Bangalore, I feel I am better placed, or my city is better placed. That's the only solace. We always live and we do comparison and try to be happy. So Bangalore used to be proud of its service sector. That's one thing which is also, this has also taken a beating because of inadequate infrastructure to meet the growing demand. Next. In last so many decades, we have not been able to replicate even one Lal Bagh. So, in this context, I place my appreciation to Dr. Yellappa Reddy's efforts to retain a Thurahalli forest and then create some Western Ghats patches in city like Bangalore. On Bannerghatta Road, he has done it, and then in Shivanahalli, he has done. And even Bangalore University is one best example he has created. So we have only patches of, but we still talk about only Lal Bagh or Kabban Park as a major lung space. We don't have any CBD area. We don't have any. Look at the way we have killed Majestic area, Kempegoda. There used to be a beautiful tank, I have heard, and we don't have any more. It has given room for a lot of structures. That is, one is bus stand. It's inevitable. So I have listed here. These are all contribution. Majorly, Dr. Yellappa Reddy has contributed for these kind of green patches we have. Like Bannerghatta National Park has been there, and this is one city which has even forest. Bannerghatta National Park is a plus point for city. And then this is the plight of city which has an estimated, I was going through a lot of statistics. It says we have more than now nearly 1 crore vehicles. And the pandemic has made people to buy vehicles. More and more vehicles are going to be added because people are resisting public transport for, obvious reason. And then let us go to the next slide. Vehicular population is one issue which we have been facing, and then we are going to see water wars. The city is going to, one or the other day, we are going to witness major problem, water problem, because heavily we are dependent on river Kaveri. We have lost Tippagondanhalli. We don't have any other. We are getting water from such a long distance. Talakaveri is 294 kilometers from here, and then more and more apartments and houses are being constructed. There is a mismatch between supply and the growth. So old Bangalore used to be dependent. I remember in my childhood days in Rajajinagar, we used to get water from Hesarghatta, and that is no more supplier here. And look at the statistics. Parisara Mahiti is a government website, which it says till 1960 there were 262 water bodies. Now it has been reduced to 81 lakes, of which 34 lakes are live lakes, we call it. The reduction stands at 35%. The ecological status of lakes is irreplaceable damage we have done. Next, Anusha. So BDA, some years ago, it had sanctioned 140 crore for reviving 37 lakes. And we don't know how far this money has been utilized and whether public are can access the documents regarding the usage of this money, how it was spent usefully. We don't have. It is believed that we are left with only 105 lakes now. Of these, only 4 lakes are in good condition. Can you imagine? Not a single lake has potable water. According to the government document, only 4 lakes are in good condition. In 2004, LDA, that is Lake Development Authority, began public-private participation for the next 15 years. Have the lakes have been saved, or a lot of damage has been done by privatizing? No official word from the government. Government takes up programs, but the end result, if there is progress, negative or positive, we don't get access to that. This under Right to Information Act, if you apply, it will take 3 months. Sometimes the files keep moving from department to department, and then you'll as a media person, I will write something, and I will have to be happy with that. And readers, neither a reporter, as a reporter, I will get a comprehension picture, or nor as a content consumer, you won't get. This is the problem, So most of the lakes have turned into dump yards, playground. Even playground, I saw even in Gadag, one beautiful lake, that is Bhishma Lake, I think. Some years ago, when I went to cover elections, I saw children were playing cricket. Gadag is facing severe water shortage, and finally it has been revived. I heard, I saw some pictures and a lot of activities they took to rejuvenate that lake. Lakes have turned into layouts. As we know, it is dumping yard. You can do anything on with lakes. That is the problem with Bangalore lakes. Some conservation plans we discuss only. It is in the media, which is these things are being discussed. Of course, maybe it's in seminars. But Bellandur, that's one classic example how we discuss a lot, and then whatever has to be done, we don't take it to a logical end. Bellandur Lake is still continues to be polluted, and then we don't know where we are heading to because there are a lot of structures, apartments and industries in that area, and whether any penalty has been imposed on those who are polluting. Every day, a lot of effluent is being discharged. Each house is letting out used water, and a lot of, I don't think any study to see that, pollution is stopped. Only one development I saw is that vehicles, earlier Bangalore vehicles used to be taken there, this garages, and used to wash vehicles there. That has been stopped there, Bellandur. That I'm an eyewitness to that. Yeah, next slide. Next. So, the biggest lake we have lost in Bangalore. And can you go back to the previous one? Yeah. And what are the civic authorities doing? When we look at this sorry state of affairs, what about the responsibility of the citizens also? We need to, for our sake, we have to save the city. What is the role of lake in charge authorities and pollution control? But all these questions we can keep raising, but who is there to answer? That's the question. a scientist has been saying from last 2 decades, I don't want to name him, he has been saying that he is studying Bellandur Lake. For what purpose it is being studied? If was the pollution being watched, what about his responsibility as a citizen? And being a scientist, he says that yes, I am studying. It is not just a study thing, it has to, for our own survival, we need to do something. That is the, 2 decades of documentation. I mean, what results it has yielded? That's the question. Next. I mean, if you go to Pollution Control Board website and then Lake Development Authority and Bangalore BDA or BBMP, you get a lot of these kind of information you get. See, we have 57 water bodies listed and not a single has been Class A. Class A is that is drinking water purpose, as I said. Parisara Mahiti, as you all know, that it is giving updates on water. It used to before COVID. Of late, I have not checked. If there is no vegetation, how can water, infiltrate? That is the problem. It also raises questions. How? I mean, I will show you one Jakkur Lake story. I have some slides. It shows how there is no coordination among departments to do a constructive job. I will show you in the next slides. Yeah, please. Next. And we all know that there are 3 valleys: Hebbal, Koramangala, Chellagatta, and even Brishabha before. They have choked, they have died. And BWSSP, the role is very big. It caters to 80% of the city's water requirement, and it is 900 million liters a day, while the demand is 1.3 billion liters. And we are facing acute water shortage. And I don't think in Bangalore there is any house, I mean, at least a middle class house, which has not have water purifier. Earlier, I remember in my school days, I used to drink, tap water, but now we can't afford to do that. It is so polluted, we don't even know what we are consuming. As per, I mean, next slide. There is paucity of water and there is quality is also a big problem. And we have reached Kaveri 5th stage in the finals, this one, and we can't get any more water from any source. It is going to be, it's a huge problem which we are going to face. Borewells, yes, we indiscriminately drilled borewells, and our rainwater harvesting, we spoke a lot, and then BBMP has made it mandatory, but many houses don't use rainwater harvesting facility. Though they have it, they don't use because it is very difficult for any government. We can't expect government to monitor everything. But the only thing is that, if you have rainwater harvesting, you need to have rains also, and then monitoring has to be done whether some house is using or not. There is a lot of processes involved. So hardly these statistics you just see very late in the day made mandatory. That is in 2016 BBMP made it compulsory. Hardly 97,000, nearly a lakh properties out of 1.78 lakhs installed rainwater harvesting. But how many have been put into use? Don't know. And they have collected to 28 crore penalty. What penalty? You can't cut water supply as it is against the what penalty you can impose? Only you can collect money, but can you supply? Can you cut short the water supply to these houses? No, it is against the rule. Next. So we don't. I mean, Bangalore property tax collection also. It is it's a very unscientific way they are doing. We don't even, BBMP doesn't even know how many properties are there. Whenever they start, scientifically documenting properties, they give up in the middle because there are a lot of vested interests. They don't want to have an account of how many houses are in the city or how many buildings are there. So this tax collection, rainwater harvesting, and property, all this has to be integrated. Otherwise, it is we are not going anywhere. So then we come to the tree cover when there is water shortage, when there is space shortage, when the air is polluted, and then we have tree cover is, that's okay. Whoever comes to Bangalore city, they feel, a lot of trees. But the reality is different. The population we have and the vehicular population we have, the tree cover is not sufficient. There is no authentic government document to establish as to how many trees in the city is left with. because the last census they were supposed to do, that has not been carried forward. I spoke to an officer there. According to an estimate, over 14 lakh something trees are there, and while another say just 50 lakh. I walked into BBMP to find out how many trees are there in the city, but it is they don't have any statistics. Yeah, next slide. Anusha, next. Yeah. Chola Rajappa, you might have heard, those who are in environment movement, you must have heard DCF Chola Rajappa. He says he receives 20 to 30 applications a day seeking permission to cut trees or trim branches. The BBMP could not carry its the tree census because of so many reasons they gave, because elections were the main problem, and then in 2018 the census did not begin because tenders could not be invited due to elections. Can you imagine elections preventing? We have in democracy, elections are mandatory, and that should not be stopping this kind of major work, but it has stopped. In 2019 March, the process has begun to invite tenders, and the work has not started yet. 5 crore has been marked tree census. Yeah, next.
Ma'am, Guru Prasad have raised the hand. Guru Prasad, would you like to state something? Ma'am, still the disturbance is there, but it's okay. It is not because of fan. That is what we have realized. But we can good to go, ma'am. Next slide is okay.
Yeah. So who should conduct tree census? That is a big debate going on at that. At BBMP level, and then they say that the BBMP can only sanction money and execute it, and then there is a lot of procedural delay in conducting tree census. So why do we need to have data? Why should we have that? That will reflect the severity, and in March 2018, we saw overnight 28 trees got uprooted in Mahalakshmi layout, and there were no casualties. Luckily, nearly 198 trees branches had fallen. It is unpredictable. This was they didn't expect this. This happened, and then this is how the city, because of the concrete jungle, we are losing trees, and trees are getting uprooted. Next slide. So for every 10 trees cut, we need to have at least one tree or is equal to 2 saplings, it says, but that is not happening. So where are we heading to? Projects, we have so many infrastructure projects on paper. Are they become bane? That is the problem. We are discussing that metro is cutting a lot of trees. We are and steel flyover we discussed, and then we don't have steel flyover, neither we have trees. It's not able to, can a city, when the city is growing like this, can we put a cap on city's growth? That is a discussion, but it is impossible. No city in anywhere in this world has put a stop on its growth, but the only thing is that how wise we will be, we have to be in managing the city. That is the challenge. Further damage, how we can mitigate. And you remember, I think all of you remember this controversial project, steel flyover and elevated corridor. Next. And then citizens protested, and then traffic problem continues, but we didn't find an alternative to steel flyover bridge. Government has given up, that's all. They dumped the project because there was a lot of halla-gulla over it, and then there was valid questions were raised by citizens and in the media. So we don't have an alternative, but that's the tragedy, Okay, the Hepal side, the traffic is a huge problem. Now we are talking in terms of metro connectivity, but it will take at least a decade. So till then, we are going to burn a lot of fuel, and then public inconvenience will continue. This is, BMRCL. We have so many projects. Who is doing what? We don't have any clear picture. Two school of thought about how it should work. The ban the movement of private vehicles on the corridors. That is into Vidhana Saudha also. Yeah, when we from elevated corridor, Can we, it is 20,000 crore project. Can you imagine that kind of money? Two schools of thought about how it should work. Ban movement of private vehicles on the corridor. Another is do not build corridor as it is proved to be a failure in advanced cities. So there are two school of thoughts. Yeah. But what eventually we are left with neither infrastructure nor trees. Yeah, next. So how did we kill this city? How did we kill? That is, in many ways, exposed area in the city is just 8% according to a survey. When BMP became BBMP, the exposed area rose to 65%. Earlier city, when it was BMP, we had 8%. When it became BBMP, Bruhat Bengaluru Mahanagarapalike, it became 65%. Did our infrastructure grow? No, not exponentially. Anything more than 70 mm rain a day in this, the city will flood. Despite water harvesting, there is hardly any provision for water to get into subsoil, and hence the city gets flooded. Still, rainwater harvesting has to be done for our own survival. This has become inevitable. Next. So, have plans for development. Previous, I think you missed one. So we have a lot of revenue pockets that have turned into layouts. That is where we are facing a lot of problems now, which our villages have become city tag it has got, but many areas don't even get Kaveri water. They are dependent mainly on tank supply. So CDP, these documents too late in the day, green cover shrinking, it's all green cover shrinking exercise, that's all the CDP. Over the decades, we have spurred footpaths, and footpaths has to cater to roadside vendors. It has to allow tree cover, and it has to allow cables to pass through, and everything has to happen on footpath. So pedestrians are left with no footpaths. So nobody is taking up their cause. Forest department grown trees either on footpaths or in the middle of the roads. They are bound to face casualty. Trees are going to be a casualty because trees need a separate track, nobody should disturb that track, but everything is happening on footpath. That's the only easily available space now. Why the forest department is not made answerable for the city? It is only we question BBMP, but what about forest department? None of us, usually even media, we talk about Malnad or Western Ghats, but we don't talk about urban forestry. It's unfortunate. A city like in Bangalore, forest department is not being questioned the way it should have been. Next, please. So, wish civic body officials get exposure to better cities and they learn something. They travel abroad, they go to the best cities, but they don't come back with the. They may enhance their knowledge and experience, but not implement it. The city, I as a journalist, as a citizen of Bangalore, I feel the city lacks a dynamic leader to lead us, to a politician who can feel proud of the city and do something. So what are the suggestions way out? It is time to take strict action against violators of law. Whoever violates law, we need to come down heavily. People should have to have a say in development works. We don't have, people participation is over a period, as I have seen. Earlier, I was telling Dr. Renuka Prasad, earlier we used to see protests in Bangalore, if buses don't turn up, if roads are dug and then not repaired, if there is the water supply problem, people used to stage protest and demand whatever is minimum facilities. But nowadays we don't. Everything is happening on social media, and then it may catch the attention of the authorities or the government, or it may not. Sometimes it will, but sometimes they may not. So why citizens are not demanding? I feel only when there is media coverage, there will be a lot of talk or protest. If media is not focusing on them, then the protests die. Those protests have natural death. Yeah, next please. So one example, Mr. Dr. Renuka Prasad shared a lot of documents with me, and I was talking to one professor also, two professors. I discussed this. Bangalore University, you people are, some of you are involved in this, Bangalore University losing all the way. So it says that the emblem says Gnanam Vignanam Sahitam. What is Vignana? Sahita means the knowledge is, I don't know what knowledge they are showing in destroying the park, bio park, but it is unfortunate. See, this Bangalore University was established in 64. Some facts I'm placing because there may be new comers to this issue. So let them have a look at it. So the supposed to be is 1,100 acres, Bangalore University, and earlier it was out of the city. I mean outskirts of this. Now it is almost heart of the city. The Nanabharati Bio Park, it's 20 years old, and park, I believe it is 650 acres. And there is a lot of indigenous trees, thousands of varieties, and medicinal plants. It says 23 rare variety. Next. And this point I wanted to tell. How do we improve the city? That's one thinking is that introduce negative factors, Santa. That is, banning vehicles around Vidhan Saudha. Sorry, I'm going back to that suggestion slide. Make roads around it for public transport. Politician, government employees, even judges, everybody should take public transport. If that is made at least near Kabban Park and heart of the city, we can see lesser pollution and lesser clogging of roads. There are say 35,000 government vehicles in Bangalore. Now it must have gone up more. Several restrictions have to be imposed. That is called negative factors. For the luxury of some people, the whole Bangalore is paying heavy price. Why should we? We need to raise this issue. Why should we pay if a person, say a judge or some VIP travels from airport, one person traveling in one car, an Aam Janta will travel the same distance in a bus. Look at the pollution and look at the traffic he's adding to the problem. Yeah, next. Somebody has to be made to pay for whatever luxury they are. Then next. Can we come to Bangalore University slide? Because we may run out of time.
Ma'am, this one?
No, Bangalore University.
I have to go front, like moving forward?
Yeah, you have to go front.
Yeah. Media role?
No, Bangalore University, you had taken. Yeah. So I have, if you can go back, this is, I think you have gone further.
Ma'am, stop me where you want.
Yeah. See, Bangalore University, there is a previous slide.
This one, no?
Okay, stop it here.
ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಹೋಗಿ
Ida?
ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಹೋಗಿ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್
ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಹೋಗಿ
ಆಗ್ಲೇ ಬಂದಿತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಬ್ಯಾಂಗ್ಳೂರ್ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ.
Yes. So ಇದು ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಹೋಗಿ. Go to the next. Yeah. This you go. Pass this slide.
ಪಾಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗಿ. Next, please.
Yes.
Next.
Okay.
Next.
Okay.
I have this. I will come back to this later. Yeah.
Next.
Bangalore University.
ಬನ್ನಿ ಮುಂದೆ ಬನ್ನಿ.
Okay. You keep this. Keep this. Next.
Next ಬನ್ನಿ.
Oh, you have gone to the. You have to go back. Bangalore University. Can you do search by any chance?
ಈಗ ಅನುಷ್ ಅವರ ಈಗ ತೋರಿಸಿದ್ರಿ ನೀವು ಆ ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ ಅದು ಲೀಸ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಅಂತೆಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ದು ಬಿಗಿನಿಂಗ್.
Leasing.
Mostly.
You stop it here only. It's okay. So okay. Bangalore University, what has it's a precious land, and it is almost in the we can call it heart of the city now. No more it is on the outskirts of the city. So there is a lot of land being leased out. It says I was told that about 800 acres is left now. From 1,100 to it has shrunk. Mr. Dr. Renuka Prasad was telling me that the present VC conducted a survey of the entire area, and then this is the statistics he has put before people. There is tremendous pressure on Bangalore University to lease land for educational purpose. Ali in yavudakku kottilla avaru kottirodu education related activities gene kottidare. Leasing land for very petty money they have given. and it is not easy to withstand political pressure. As far as my experience goes, I have seen how officials, whether it is a vice chancellor or a registrar or a government or any bureaucrat, they will be under pressure when it comes to land, whether it is in the revenue department or BBMP or anywhere. Land is something precious, and then everybody tries to grab a piece of land. This is not for personal, but for education purpose. Here it is, Bangalore University has given for a host of like UGC, NAC, and National Law School and Sports Authority of India have listed the whole this one, and a lot of land has gone out of Bangalore University purview, though physically the land remains with Bangalore University. So the recent this one was this biopark was touched. So there was really, that was shocking, because the syndicate had not taken a decision to give land to Yoga University. Again, Yoga University is a government UGC university. It is not a private. They are not given for any private this one. What happens is that, when I was interacting with the professors, they were telling, everybody wants to have prestigious institutions like IIT, IIM, IITB, and NAC, National Law School, these kind of, are top-end educational institutions in Bangalore. Where do they get land? So because we are thinking vertical, we are not thinking in terms of vertical growth. We are still, we had to make provision for vehicle parking. First of all, the heads of the institutions should have at least 5-6 vehicle parking they want. They don't take public transport. The public transport is very pathetic even in today in Bangalore. Except metro stretch, we don't have good transport. So what they do is that we all depend on, especially Nanabharati, as I have seen, it is difficult to reach. I do come there for meetings. I am on board of studies there, BOS meetings. It is tough. I had to go to, from Dairy Circle, I had to go to Vijayanagar. I had to catch 3-4 public transport to reach that place. So to avoid that kind of time consumption and tedious, this one naturally will be forced to take out a vehicle. In Bangalore University, what it's not a question of land. It is a question of how to optimize the land. That is what at least they should have thought like that. Otherwise, even today, all state universities wants a piece of land there, including Vijapur, that is Akka Mahadevi University. On the 2 acre kottpidi, 1 acre kottpidi, that is what the demand. And sometimes political pressure is so much on people who head the institution, they yield. So how to save the land space then? How do we? Every university in the state wants to have a shop here to get prestigious institutes. We want all good institutions here. Otherwise, we had to migrate to, for every meeting training, they had to go to either Chennai or Hyderabad. Other cities may offer facilities. So Bangalore University place has been used. This is how it has been done. So how to save the land space then? How do we save Bangalore University? There is public stake should be increased. That's what I feel. I'll give you one example. Rorick Estate, as long as it was closed for public, people didn't know what was happening there. Suddenly, one day, Rorick Estate on Kanakpura Road was in news because trees were illegally cut there. It is a beautiful forest area, and nobody has, even today, public can't enter that. So when the gates are closed for public place, then what happens is we don't know. We don't know. Only as if some vested interest or interest people tell the media that such a thing is highlighted. So it was the first time Bangaloreans could access, step into Rorick Estate only when Jija Hari Singh, IPS officer, she allowed people to visit for 2 days, weekend. So that is where when we saw, okay, this has so much emerald wealth. So we don't know whether people should be allowed or not. That also can be debated. If Bangalore University has porous border, there is nobody knows where it begins and where it ends. So there's the problem. If the gates are closed, it may become like Rorick Estate. So there are issues in both of this, allowing and not allowing. If social media is used too much to promote tourism or a place, people start thronging, It is like if a good hotel comes in city, people want to try it there. Similarly, if you in social media or online media or in paper, if a new place is highlighted as a good destination to relax, people start going. So should we write or not? That is also an issue. Should forest issues to that extent should we be covering or not? That's if I write Bangalore University has a good walk path, then people will start exploring it. By writing, did I do good, or by not writing, I was doing good? What was my contribution? That like it should not become another Lal Bagh. At least mornings I see, I stay closer to that place. Lal Bagh, 5,000, 6,000 people walk in the mornings, early morning. See, so then we were discussing, Dr. Renuka Prasad was telling me how legal battle it has become now. Legal route, yeah, make public hearing. I feel, honestly, legal route is one thing to stop illegal or losing land to so many, lung space like Bangalore University. We can't afford to lose Bangalore University and GKVK. Both are precious. That's the two lung spaces we have. One is public hearing must be made whenever public land is going to be utilized for some projects. Public hearing should be there. Public should express their views and then take that process on record. It is there, but that's not happening. So many projects are coming. We don't hear any public hearing. Mega projects also, UKP. Look at it, crores they're spending. We don't know who attends and what is the outcome. So dynamic, and another thing, one suggestion I have is, because you're all like-minded people are there, can we have a website, Bangalore University, if we can have a website which is very dynamic, where people, all the details about the university campus, it's not about the education facilities there, but other than, there are many things happening there. Kani Kalagrama is there. Kalagrama has turned into another a burial ground. They're doing so much damage to that place also. So all these things, plant, tree, building, water points, exit and entry, everything should be listed at least, and a virtual map which can conduct virtual tour of the site is essential, so that I have a lot of faith in youngsters also. If youngsters are more and more involved in these kind of constructive activities, at least there will be some monitoring. Everybody in Bangalore, we can't afford to visit the Bangalore University campus to see who is selling what there and what illegal this one. At least if it is available, if we have a sort of dashboard, and if we can do virtual tour, at least we can, like smart city in Tumkur, we have good, if you visit the website, you'll see every thing is documented in under smart city. Though we don't have a smart city, but under smart city banner, at least documentation is being done, and we can access it. We can access it even if a road is constructed, even if a road is being repaired, everything is available. But here, Bangalore University, we don't even know what is happening there. So that's one suggestion I have. And is it possible to think in terms of fencing, or at least like Kempegowda did, 4 towers he erected and said, Bangalore should not grow beyond this. Can we have sort of watchtower or something, which will exert pressure on government not to violate that? But of course, Bangalore city grew without, unmindful of this tower. But now people are quite cautious while taking up. And then can we think of, but these are all things which government should have done. But if it is not done, can we exert pressure on government through crowdsourcing? Can we raise funds and can we chip in some money to ensure that that first thing is consolidating the boundary of Bangalore University is very important. Let the government or at least university, let it declare that this is all we have here, this is the land, and then we need to put a system where they cannot take up any activities without the consent of public hearing. Without public hearing, you can't just one officer or one vice chancellor or anybody, shouldn't be allowed to take decisions. That's my this one. Next, can we go to the next So you will be wondering what legal media can do. See, I have a lot of issues when it comes to activism. We are just catalysts, media cannot, we need to give sustained coverage rather than doing campaigns. In media, we have been taught, media education tells us that, a media person, a journalist, I'm talking about a journalist, not a content producer, a journalist should not uh, get too much involved in, of course, our interest matters a lot, but if we become activists, then there is problem. Then biases may come. So a newspaper policy will be something. A journalist, see, I'll give you one example how journalists become so attached to this kind of beats. There was one lady who was in my team. She wanted to be on ecology, environment, and forest beat. So we were telling her that, Deccan Herald being a city paper, we need to cover city things. If Malnad there is problems, leave it. You don't even step there. How do you write? You are not going to the forest. You are not stepping into the Western Ghats to see the problems. So you, without cross-checking, without doing a reality check, don't write. She went to the extent of not doing any work. She went on hartal. Finally, she resigned because she was not allowed to do forest beat. The thing is, where did she go? Did she join some NGO to save anything? No, she joined IBM. What is, I don't know. Media managements may not encourage this kind of activism. So why I'm telling is that you please understand our constraints also. So you expect a lot of coverage. I know that many NGOs expect coverage. The thing is that we need to strike a balance. See, as media people, we have to cater to all sections of society, all interests, like infotainment, we have to cover sports and name cookery, fashion, and then sports is big. There is big demand, whether it is in TV or in print. So environment, ecology is also part of, once in a while it gets coverage. I know it can go up. Look at women, 50% of the population is women, but how much coverage they get? We are not that kind of gender sensitive. So there are a lot of imbalance. I do agree, but we can't keep writing about the same topic repeatedly, because you people themselves will say that, we are bored. Look at COVID only. Nowadays, COVID is no more lead. Such a mega pandemic, people will be fed up of reading the same topic. So naturally, we try to we cater to all type of subjects. And then the problem is that whenever there is noise about some issue, media highlights it. Later, no follow-ups. That is also there. I agree. And I have given one example how this tribals of Nagarhole and Bandipur and in Malnad area, the tribals were fighting for their existence, and then the court ruled that, don't allow any activities in reserve forest, whereas NGOs and politicians were batting for tribals' rights in forest. It has two phases, that kind of balanced this one. A film actor it happened in assembly when Mr. Kagadu Timmappa was the speaker. He went on telling the forest minister, don't evict any tribals from forest, he said. And Mr. Rai, who was forest minister, he was explaining, say, I am following Supreme Court direction. If Supreme Court direction is, deadline is there, I need to follow Supreme Court direction. And finally, what happened was Mr. Kagadu himself went to Kodagu, where tribals were doing hartal. He went and he studied the problem. He came back to assembly and said, I understand the government problem. Supreme Court direction has to be followed. No activity should be allowed in reserve forest. I agree, but do something for tribals. You relocate them, he said. So by that time, media had given so much coverage, as though government government was portrayed in such a way that, that it was doing a lot of harm to tribals. But there is another story. An issue will have so many dimensions, so many angles. That is the responsibility of the media. So while doing so, NGOs may feel that, we are taking up the side of the government or court, or no. I mean, yesterday, see, when I'm presenting Bangalore University issue also, I'm telling you certain facts, how a person who heads the institution can, but how smartly we overcome that problem is what I am trying to explore. Next. Next. So I'm showing you some Ballari illegal mining. One picture I have taken. I did a lot of stories on Ballari mining, a lot of exclusives I did. See, my question is that, Ballari mining, when illegal mining was going on for, say, at least 5-6 years, it was peak. Nobody exposed it, in the sense nobody discussed it also. Like, it started after the loot. What did NGOs do? What did media do? What did doctors there? The pollution is so high there in that entire stretch. So Karwar port also highly polluted. So I mean, collectively we failed when it comes to Ballari illegal mining stopping, collectively, because that is what I am emphasizing. Whole society has to take the responsibility. It's not how come no forest officer, no police, no bureaucrat, IAS, IPS, or name anybody. Nobody. They all knew that such illegal thing is happening. Check posts they knew, and people were witnessing. Nobody dared to expose it until Lokayukta took over the matter. Next slide. Next slide. So this is where previous one chart I'm showing. No, see, this is how in Lokayukta report where the money. See, the whole society is party to this kind of illegal mining. You can see how companies and then lawyers and then journalists and then name anybody, they were in the loop of taking money, and amount is mentioned. It is authentic. This was collected from the person who had given. The income tax had all the details. Next. And this is one thing I visited near Kolar. There is Lake Narsapura. Now it has become industrial town. There the illegal sand mining was going on. Look at the way sand mining was banned at that time. People were happily, they were doing mining. And I took, there was a lot of life risk to me, but still I went ahead because, I mean, Kolar is my mother's place also. So I have some affection, I mean, special love for that town. Yeah, next. I will show you on slide how illegally they are drawing power. Do you think this can go without public being noticed? No, definitely it can't. Villagers are all witness to this illegal. Directly they are drawing power for running the pump and drawing water, and sand mining was on. Yeah, next. So next. I will give you one more example how an artist documented Jakkur Lake death and revival. It is called Lake Tales. She is an international repute artist, and she lives in Hebal side. She saw Jakkur Lake being, disfigured, and then she started documenting it visually. And then she says that, that project metamorphosis from rural natural lake to urban project, how it became. Next photos I'll show you. See, this is how she presented it. It was like this, and now it has become like this. The greenery has been restored, Jakkur Lake. Yeah, next. This is how beautiful it used to be. Now it has regained its beauty again. Yeah, next slide. See, she was explaining me how departments don't coordinate. Lake Development Authority, BDA, BBMP, Forest Department, they work in isolation. When the work was on, each department didn't know what the other department was doing. So there was a massive fish death. You can see this one, because they didn't know they were draining out water, and other departments didn't know. I mean, fisheries department was never consulted. Probably they could have saved this, they could have handled it better, Jakkur Lake. Eventually, what she did was this documentation she did over 3-4 years, how lakes are being mauled in Bangalore, and then how it is revived. Somebody in Switzerland saw her, scientists, some labs saw. She was invited as a fellow there, and she worked along with scientists. She as an artist on water, and the lab scientists were working on water and different dimensions of water. Yeah, next. So, this Jakur, this is how, public started with, once she started documenting and putting on her website, people started gathering, and then, so they started owning up that area. It's near Sampikehalli. Yeah, next. Next. So I was. I visited after when the COVID peak period was there. I visited a crematorium. That is a TR mill. What you're seeing, where the bodies were burnt. And next slide, please. I know it is gory to see. This was in Kaveri basin, near Srirangpatna, or KR Puram, I think, KR Pete. This is mass cremation was done by minister. After seeing this picture, there was a lot of reaction. Oh, how humane! I agree. A minister has done whatever he should have done. I spoke to Mr. Elaparity about this issue, but my concern was that at a go, you're immersing so much of ashes. What would be the state of Kaveri? That is the question, not much of debate. And he said, we have done immense damage. It should never be done. He has been insisting that there should be tertiary, water, whatever this ashes taken, it should be incinerated before immersing. And a simple thing that has not been done. And every day ashes go there and they get immersed, all these rituals taking place. And then we are not paying attention. And from there, we get water to Bangalore. And how safe we are. We are not safe. And this is a beautiful picture. That I can say. It's colorful. But if I wish Elaparity will deliver a talk, or I think he has written also somewhere. And this is major damage we did. And even in city, in the previous slide, please go back to previous slide. See, previous slide. See, this is where non-COVID bodies were burnt. Other side where you see the, one aluminum metal sheet, beneath that COVID bodies were burnt. Nobody knows how they are disposing these ashes. Absolutely. When I spent nearly 2 hours there to document, I didn't see any, and I tweeted to minister. I tweeted to do something. Immediately we need to. A scientific approach should be there. No committee has been. They at least now they should think how to when this kind of situation. How do we not do further damage to environment? Yeah, that's next. Next is the end. Yeah. So my question is, when you see all this, the responsibility of citizens is quite high. It's not just government. We need to question. We need to question sensibly. We need to debate, discuss without prejudice. We should understand the pressure of the government also that it faces. We should also understand how, we keep hearing save nature. No, nature cannot be. Who are we to save nature? It is we have to save ourselves. Like Kodugu, when we see the disaster, we understand it is not saving nature. Nature will survive on its own. The thing is that we need to survive ourselves. That is my concern is that how collectively we can take it forward. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Indeed, it was very interesting, analytical view, critical view. It's not only you are telling, it's like a preaching. You do what you tell, and the aspect you were telling, I was so engrossed in the lecture, I forget sometimes to move the slide. It's okay, ma'am.
My laptop is not allowing sharing option. There is some problem. I think maybe some technical issue. Sorry, I disturbed you.
Yeah, beyond that, it went very well, and it was very informative. In fact, the participants have indeed enriched by the lecture. So I start with the questions. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
The first question, you spoke about the population concentration in the city. And how this is leading to an adverse effect.
Yes.
Now the question is whether state is doing something in regard to split this concentration of population, or is it having any control over this overpopulation?
No, they are not doing anything. They are not putting a cap, because no government will put a cap on growth of a city. It shouldn't be doing. But the thing is that, only hope is metro connectivity. If we get metro connectivity, and population will definitely increase once the metro is completed. We are not doing, even now we have not realized the problem. I think nature itself will teach us a lesson. If there is severe water shortage, people will stop coming into the city. That is a negative factor. Very sad, but
Yeah. Then the next, yes sir.
ಏನಿಲ್ಲ, ರೋಹಿಣಿ ಮುಂಡಾಜ್ ಅವರು ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರು ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಆಶಾ ಕೃಷ್ಣಸ್ವಾಮಿ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಪರಿಚಯ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಟ್ಟು ಉಪಕಾರ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರು ಒಂದೆರಡು ಮಾತಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳಿ, ಅಷ್ಟೊತ್ತಿಗೆ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಆಶಾ ಅವರು ಒಂದು ಕಪ್ ನೀರಾರು ಕುಡಿಬಹುದು. ಹೇಳಿಮ್ಮ, ಅನ್ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ರೋಹಿಣಿ ಮುಂಡಾಜ್ ಅವರು ಅನ್ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ.
ಪ್ಲೀಸ್.
ಓಕೆ, ನಾನು ಜಾಯಿನ್ ಆಗುವಾಗ ಲೇಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಬಟ್ ಆಶಾ ಅವರು ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರಗಳ ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಂಗಲ್ಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅವರು ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಒಂದು ನನ್ಗೆ ಅನ್ನಿಸ್ತೇನಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಆವರಣದ ಒಳಗೆ ಅಥವಾ ಬಯೋ ಪಾರ್ಕ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಜನರ ಓಡಾಟ, ಅದು ವಾಕಿಂಗ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಏನೇ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಅದು ಇದ್ದಷ್ಟು ಬಹುಶಃ ಅದರ ಪ್ರತಿದಿನದ ಆಗು ಹೋಗುಗಳಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಅದರ ಒತ್ತುವರಿ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಇದನ್ನ ಪ್ರತಿದಿನ ಜನರು ಅಥವಾ ಅಲ್ಲಿಯ ವಾಕರ್ಸ್ ಅಸೋಸಿಯೇಷನ್ ಅವರು ಪ್ರತಿದಿನ ಅಪ್ಡೇಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ನನ್ಗೆ ಅನ್ನಿಸ್ತು. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ವಾಕ್ಪಾತ್ ನಾವು ಇನ್ನಷ್ಟು ವಿಸ್ತಾರ ಮಾಡಬಹುದೇನೋ ಅಂತ ನನ್ನ ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯ. ಇನ್ನೊಂದೇನಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಇವಾಗ ಏನು ಒತ್ತುವರಿ ಮೇಲೆ ಒತ್ತುವರಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯ ಒಂದು ಪರಿಹಾರವನ್ನ ನಾವು ಕಂಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬಹುದು ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಆಡಳಿತದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವವರೇ ಒತ್ತುವರಿಗೆ ಸಹಕಾರ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಓಪನ್ ಸೀಕ್ರೆಟ್. ಹೀಗಿರುವಾಗ ಅದನ್ನ ಉಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಹೇಗೆ? ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಮಗುನ ತಂದೆ ತಾಯಿ ಹೇಗೆ ಪೋಷಿಸ್ತಾರೆ, ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಪ್ರೀತಿಯಿಂದ, ಅಭಿಮಾನದಿಂದ ಮತ್ತೆ ರಾತ್ರಿ ಹಗಲು ಕಾಳಜಿಯಿಂದ ರೇಣುಕಾ ಪ್ರಸಾದ್ ಅವರಾಗ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಅವರ ಟೀಮ್ ಆಗ್ಲಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಬೆಳೆಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದಿದೆ ಇವತ್ತಿನವರೆಗೆ. ಇವತ್ತು ಅದು ನಮ್ಮ ಕಣ್ಣಾರೆ, ನಾನು ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಕೆಲವು ಸಲ ವಿಸಿಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ, ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ, ಆದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಕಣ್ಣಾರೆ ಅದು ಕೈ ತಪ್ಪಿ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ನುವಾಗ ಹೇಗೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಉಳಿಸ್ಕೋಬಹುದು? ನಮ್ಮ ಈ ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ಗಳಾಗ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಈ ಪರಿಸರ ಸಂರಕ್ಷಣೆಯ ಸಂಬಂಧ ಈ ನಮ್ಮ ಚಟುವಟಿಕೆಗಳಾಗ್ಲಿ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಪೂರಕ ಆಗಬಹುದು ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಆಶಾ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಆಗ್ಲಿ ರೇಣುಕಾ ಪ್ರಸಾದ್ ಸರ್ ಆಗ್ಲಿ ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಪಂದಿಸಬಹುದು.
ಇವತ್ತು ಆಶಾ ಮೇಡಮ್ ನವರೇ ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ.
ನನ್ಗನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ, ಆಸ್ ಲಾಂಗ್ ಎಸ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಇನ್ವಾಲ್ವ್ಡ್, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೇಕು. ನಾನು ರೇಣುಕಾ ಪ್ರಸಾದ್ ಅವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ ಅವತ್ತು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ, ಕೆರೆ ಕುಂಟೆಗಳನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಮೊದಲು ಜನ ಓನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಈಗ ದಿಸ್ ಸಿಟಿ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಓನ್ ಬೈ ಎನಿಬಡಿ. ವಿ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಪ್ರೌಡ್ ಆಫ್ ವಾಟ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್, unless we have that proud feeling that I belong to this city and I own, my stakes are very high here and I keep this city clean, nannadu ಅನ್ನೋದು ಬರಬೇಕು. ಅವಾಗ ನಮಗೆ ಪ್ಲೇಸಸ್ ಆಫ್ ವರ್ಷಿಪ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಇರೋ ಅಷ್ಟು ಅಭಿಮಾನ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಉಳಿಸುವಂತಹ ಜಾಗಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅದೇ ಅನ್ಫಾರ್ಚುನೇಟ್ಲಿ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಥಿಂಗ್. ನಮ್ಗೆ ಜನಗಳೇ ಅದನ್ನ ಉಳಿಸ್ಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಜನಗಳ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಜನಗಳಿಗೆ ತಾಳ್ಮೆ ಇರಬೇಕು ಒಂದು ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದಕ್ಕ. ಎಲ್ಲ ಒಂದೊಂದ್ಸತಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ರೋಹಿಣಿ, ಪ್ರೊಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಗಳು ಏನಾಗತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒನ್ ಸೈಡೆಡ್. ಯಾರೋ 6 ತಿಂಗಳು ಅಮೆರಿಕಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಬದುಕೋರು ಇನ್ನ 3-4 ತಿಂಗಳಿಗೆ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿಗೆ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ರೋಡ್ ವೈಡನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಡಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ರಿಡ್ಜ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಡಿ, ಅವರ ಕಂಫರ್ಟ್ಗೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಫ್ಯಾಷನ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಫ್ಯಾಡ್ ಆಗ್ಬಾರ್ದು ಎನ್ವೈರನ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಎಕಾಲಜಿ ಅನ್ನೋದು. ಮೆಜಾರಿಟಿ ಆಫ್ ದ NGOs, ನೀನು ನೋಡಿದಂಗೆ ರೆಸಿಡೆನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಅಸೋಸಿಯೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್, ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಮುಂದೆ ಇನ್ವಾಲ್ವ್ ಆಗೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ. ಇವಾಗ ರೇಣುಕಾ ಪ್ರಸಾದ್ ಅವರು, ಯಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ ರೆಡ್ಡಿ, ಈ ತರ ತುಂಬಾ ಜನ ಎಷ್ಟು ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿ ಇನ್ವಾಲ್ವ್ ಆಗ್ತಾರೋ ಅಷ್ಟು ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಸುಮ್ನೆ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್, ಒಂದು ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡೋದು. ನಾನು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸೀನ್ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಸಚ್ ಇದು. ಆದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಇವತ್ತು ನಾವು ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಆಲ್ಟರ್ನೇಟಿವ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ. ಆ ಆಲ್ಟರ್ನೇಟಿವ್ಸ್ಗೆ ನಾನು ಅವಲೇ ಸಚ್, ನಾನು ಎಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ಸ್ ಓದ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಟೈಮ್ ಕನ್ಸ್ಯೂಮ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. ಆಸ್ ಲಾಂಗ್ ಆಸ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಗೆಟ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕನೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದೇರ್ ಸರೌಂಡಿಂಗ್ಸ್, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಕಾನ್ಶಿಯಸ್ ಲಿವಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಆ ಕಾನ್ಶಿಯಸ್ ಲಿವಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡದೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ, ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ಸರೌಂಡಿಂಗ್ಸ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗದೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ, ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ನೆವರ್ ಟೇಕ್ ಎನಿಥಿಂಗ್, ವಿ ಕಾಂಟ್ ಡೂ ಎನಿಥಿಂಗ್. ಈಗ ನನಗೆ ಬ್ಯಾಂಗ್ಳೂರ್ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನನಗೆ ಒಂದು ಅಭಿಮಾನ ಇರಬೇಕು, ಐ ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಸೇವ್ ದಿಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ಸೊ ಬರೀ ಅಸೋಸಿಯೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ವಾಕರ್ಸ್ ಅಸೋಸಿಯೇಷನ್ ಅದು ಇದು ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಅದು ಯಂಗ್ಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ವಾಲ್ವ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ರೋಹಿಣಿ, ದಟ್ಸ್ ಒನ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಐ ಫೀಲ್ ದಟ್ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಯಂಗ್ಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಶುಡ್ ಗೆಟ್ ಇನ್ವಾಲ್ವ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ, ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ನೋ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ, they will have that kind of enthusiasm and money also, you know. So we need, it should be a collective effort anta ansate. Then we can exert pressure. Ettina Hole project, as you have studied Rohini media dalli, Ettina Hole project public hearing anta, we don't know the outcome of public hearing. It is structural changes we want. Now we should look for structural changes where government has to answer public anta. That should not lead to inordinate delay in implementing development works. I do agree that, you know, look at nice project up to Bidadi, it is a windfall for the promoter. He got land up to Bidadi. Beyond that, it is not so convenient for him to do the road. We neither have road nor we have. It's those who have invested, they have made money. That's all. But the matter is still in court. So, law legal issue ತಗೊಂಡಾಗ, legal route ತಗೊಂಡಾಗ there will be inordinate delay ಆಗೇ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. But multiple approaches ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. It is not just one approach will do. It's not blaming one individual. It is today this VC may do, but next RA VC ಬರ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ next RA bureaucrat ಬರ್ಲಿ, how nobody can take nonsensical decisions ಅನ್ನೋದು. That is what matters.
ಬಹಳ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಮಾತು. ಒಂದು ಎರಡು ಮಾತು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಸೇರಿಸಬಹುದಾಗಿದೆ. ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಟೈಟಲ್ನ ನಾನು ಆಶಾ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಕೇಳಿದಾಗ, ಹೂ ಓನ್ಸ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಗ್ಳೂರ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಆಗಿ ಕಳಿಸಿದಾಗ ನಾನು ನನ್ನ ವೈಫ್ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ವಿ. ಬಹುಶಃ ನಮ್ಮ ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ ಸೀರೀಸು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಮಟ್ಟ, ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಹೈಟ್ಸ್ನ ತಲುಪ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ಕೊಂಡೆ. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಬಹಳ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಯನ್ನು ಅವ್ರು ತಗೊಂಡ್ರು. ಇವತ್ತು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಉತ್ತರ ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ನಾವು ಜನಾಂದೋಲನ ಅನ್ಬಹುದು ಅಥವಾ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪೇಷನ್ ಅನ್ಬಹುದು, ಮೇಡಮ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕರೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟ ಹಾಗೆ ಯಂಗ್ಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಬರಲಿ ಅನ್ಬಹುದು. ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಸೇರಿ ಆ ಓನ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ವರ್ಡ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಹೂ ಓನ್ಸ್, ಯಾರು, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗೆ ಉತ್ತರ ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದೆ. ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಂತಹ ಜನಗಳು, ರೋಹಿಣಿ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳಿದಂಗೆ, ಅವ್ರು ಬಂದಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ, ಅವ್ರು ಓಡಾಡಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ, ಇಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆ ಸೇರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ, ಅವ್ರ ಹಣನೇ ತಂದು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ಈಗ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಓನರ್ಶಿಪ್ ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಮೇಡಮ್ ಆಶಾ ಅವರೇ, ತಮಗೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಿದಂತಹ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೆಲಸಗಳು ನಾವು ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯದ ಹಣ ಬಳಸಿಲ್ಲ. ಎಲ್ಲವನ್ನೂ ಈಗ ರೋಹಿಣಿ ಮುಂಡಾಜಿ ಅವ್ರು ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಅಸೋಸಿಯೇಷನ್ ಇದೆ, ಅವ್ರು ಬರಬಹುದು, ಅವರೇ ಗಿಡ ತರಬೇಕು, ಅವರೇ JCB ತರಬೇಕು, ಅದು ಅವ್ರ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅವರು ಮತ್ತು ಅವರ ಅಸೋಸಿಯೇಷನ್ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಿದ್ದು. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಹಣ ಖರ್ಚು ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ. ಕೇವಲ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸಹಾಯ ಮಾಡೋ ಕೂಲಿಗಳಿರ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಪ್ರೀತಿಯಿಂದ ಒಂದಷ್ಟು ಹಣ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ಬೋದು, ದವಸ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಬಟ್ಟೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಶೂಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ಬೋದು. ಈ ಥರದ್ದು ಬಿಟ್ಟರೆ ಎಲ್ಲೂ ಹಣವನ್ನ ನಾವು ಯಾರಿಂದನೂ ಪಡೆಯೋಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಈಗೇನಾಯ್ತು, ಹಣ ಹಾಕಿದವ್ರಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ರೋಟರಿಯವ್ರು ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಲಯನ್ಸ್ನವ್ರು ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಕಾಲೇಜ್ ಏರೋಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಹಾಗೆ ಒಬ್ಬ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ MA ಪಾಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದಂಥ ಒಬ್ರು ನನಗೆ ಒಂದು ಬೋರ್ವೆಲ್ ಹಾಕ್ಸ್ಕೊಟ್ರು, ಸರ್ ನಾನು ಹಾಕ್ಸ್ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ. ಹಾಗೇನೆ ಒಬ್ರು ರಮೇಶ್ ಭಟ್ಟನವ್ರು 2 ಬೋರ್ವೆಲ್ ಹಾಕ್ಸ್ಕೊಟ್ರು. ಈಗ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ಓನರ್ಶಿಪ್ ಖಂಡಿತ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದು ಕಂಪಲ್ಸರಿಯಿಂದ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ, ನಾವು ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಥರ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿಸಿಲ್ಲ. ನಾವು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು, ನೀವು ಇಷ್ಟ ಇದ್ರೆ, ತಮ್ಮ ಸಂತೋಷ ಆಗಂಗಿದ್ರೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂದ್ವಿ, ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಮತ್ತು 800,000 ಜನ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಬಂದು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿಸಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಊಟ ಉಪಚಾರ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಆ ಆನಂದ ಅವ್ರು ಯಾವತ್ತೂ ಮರೆಯೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಒಂದು ಗಿಡ ಬೆಳೆಯೋದೊಂದೇ ಅಲ್ಲ, ನೀರಿನ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದೊಂದೇ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಈ ತಂಪಾದ ವಾತಾವರಣ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ಮನೋಭಾವ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಬಂತಲ್ಲ, ಈಗ ಓನರ್ಶಿಪ್ ಆಟೋಮೆಟಿಕಾಗಿ ಬಂದಿದೆ, ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಈಗ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಮಾತು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ. ಈಗ 60 ವರ್ಷಗಳ ನಮ್ಮ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯದ ಕಾರ್ಯಕಲಾಪಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಮೇಡಮ್ನವರು ಕೂಡ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ತಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ. ಆ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ಸ್ಗೆಲ್ಲ ಕೊಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾರಣ ಬಹುಶಃ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಡಾಗಿತ್ತು, ಯಾರು ಏನು ಬೆಳೆದಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಕೊಡೋಣ ಅಂತಲೂ ಅನಿಸಿರ್ಬೋದೇನೋ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪೇಷನು ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ತಾವು ಹೇಳ್ದಂಗೆ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಹಿಯರಿಂಗ್ ಇರಲೇ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಇದು ಕೊಡಬೇಕಾ ಬೇಡವಾ ಅಂತ. ಉದಾಹರಣೆಗೆ ನೀವು ಸೈಂಟಿಫಿಕ್ ಆಗಿ ತೊಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಬಾಟ್ನಿ, ಝುವಾಲಜಿ, ಲೈಫ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ 6-7 ಇದ್ದಾವೆ. ಹಾಗೆಯೇ ಬಯೋ ಎಕಾನಮಿ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ಸ್ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ರೂರಲ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ MRD ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇದೆ, ಮಾಸ್ಟರ್ ಡಿಗ್ರಿ ರೂರಲ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅದ, ಸೋಷಿಯಾಲಜಿ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇದೆ. ಇನ್ನು ಕವಿಗಳು ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಈ ತಂಪಾದ ವಾತಾವರಣ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ಇದು ನಮಗೆ ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ HN ಅವರು ಬಹಳ ಇಷ್ಟಪಟ್ಟು 1000 ಎಕರೆ ತಂದಿದ್ದು ನಿಜ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಬೇಡ ಅನ್ಸಿದ್ದು ಯಾಕೆ? ನಾವು ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದು ಯಾಕೆ? ನಮಗೆ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರ್ಲ್ವಾ ಇದು? ನಮ್ಮ ಈಗ ಡ್ಯಾನ್ಸ್, ಡ್ರಾಮಾ, ಮ್ಯೂಸಿಕ್ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟು ಒಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟಲ್ಲಿದೆ, ಅದು ಯೋಗ ಸೈನ್ಸು ಅದರಲ್ಲೇ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈಗ ಅದೇ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಲಾಗ್ರಾಮ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರಲ್ಲ, ಅದೇ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಇವ್ರನ್ನೇ ಬೆಳೆಸ್ಬೋದಾಯಿತು, ಅವ್ರ ಜೊತೆ ಅಸೋಸಿಯೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಸ್ಕೋಬೋದಾಯಿತು. ನಮ್ಮ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಕಲಿಯೋಕ್ಕೂ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿತ್ತು, ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಷನ್ ಇತ್ತು, 4 ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಬಂದವರಿಗೆ ನೋಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆ ಹಣವನ್ನು ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ಕೋಬೋದಾಯಿತು. ಈ ರೀತಿಯ ಒಂದು ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆ ಮಾಡದೆ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಒಂದ್ ಕಡೆ ಸೋತ್ ಬಿಟ್ವಾ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. ಎಲ್ಲವನ್ನು ಹಾಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ ಬಂದ್ವಿ.
ನಾನು ಅದನ್ನೇ ಹೇಳೋದು, ಆಪ್ಟಿಮಲ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ಕೋತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ವರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಗ್ರೋತ್ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ, ಆದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಾರ್ಗು ಅವ್ರ ಕಾರ್ ತಂದು 4-5 ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸ್ಬೇಕು SUVಗಳು. ನಾವು ಎಷ್ಟು ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ನಮಗೆ ಕಾರ್ ಪಾರ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಒಂದು ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ ಬಂದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಒಬ್ಬ ಡ್ರೈವರು, ಒಬ್ಬ ಅಸಿಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್, ಬ್ಯಾಗ್ ಹೊತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ ಬರೋರು, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಅಭ್ಯಾಸ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ, ಆ ಕಲೋನಿಯಲ್ ಮೈಂಡ್ ಸೆಟ್. ಆಸ್ ಲಾಂಗ್ ಎಸ್ ಈಗ ಒಂದು ಆಫೀಸ್, ಇವತ್ತು ನೋಡಿ, ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಪ್ರೂವ್ಡ್ ದಟ್ ವಿತೌಟ್ ಅನ್ ಆಫೀಸ್ ಸಿಟಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ವಿತ್ ಎ ಫೋನ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ರನ್ ಅನ್ ಆಫೀಸ್ ಅಂತ ಇರ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ, ವೈ ಡು ಯು ನೀಡ್ 2-3 acres ಟು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಅನ್ ಆಫೀಸ್?
ಹೌದು, 15 ಎಕರೆ ಈಗ
ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಒಂದು ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ ನಾವೇನ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ 100 ರ್ಯಾಂಕಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಬರ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅಗೇನ್ IISc ಒಂದು ಅಥವಾ ಇನ್ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು IIT ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಹೌ ಆರ್ ವಿ ಆಪ್ಟಿಮೈಸಿಂಗ್? ಎನಿ ಸಿಟಿ ವಿಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ಆನ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್, ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಒಪ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೇಬೇಕು. ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಇಸ್ ಪ್ರಿಷಿಯಸ್, ಪ್ರೆಷರು ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಆಬ್ಲಿಗೇಟು ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇವಾಗ ಡೆಲ್ಲಿಯಿಂದ ಯಾರೋ ಒಬ್ಬ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಒಬ್ರು ವೈಸ್ ಚಾನ್ಸಲರ್ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ಲೆಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ. ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊ. ಬಟ್ ವೇರ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ರಾಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ದಟ್ ಆಪ್ಟಿಮೈಸಿಂಗ್ ದ ಅವೈಲಬಲ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಯೂಸೇಜ್. ನಾವು ಸ್ಮಾರ್ಟ್ ವೇನಲ್ಲಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಯುಟಿಲೈಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ನ.
ಬಹಳ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಿ. ಅವ್ರೊಬ್ಬರೇ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ತಾವ್ ಹೇಳಿದಂಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಹಿಯರಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಟೀಚರ್ಸ್ ಕನ್ಸಲ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಕನ್ಸಲ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಈಗ GKVK ತಮ್ಮ ಗೊತ್ತಿರೋ ಹಾಗೆ ಅವ್ರು ಪ್ರೊಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದಕ್ಕೆ ಆ GKVK ಇವತ್ತು ಬಯೋಡೈವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಬಹಳ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಉಳ್ಕೋತು.
ಒಂದು ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಪೋಲಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೇನೆ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಫೀಡ್ಬ್ಯಾಕ್
ಅಲ್ವಾ?
ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಪೋಲಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೇನೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತಲ್ಲ
ಅಲ್ವೇ?
ಅದೇ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಆ ಡೆಮೋಕ್ರಸಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದೇನೆ. ಡೆಮೋಕ್ರಸಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಸ್ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ವೆರಿ ಹೈ. ಅದು ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಒಂದ್ ಕಡೆ ಅದು ಲಿಂಕ್ ಮಿಸ್ ಆಗೋಗಿದೆ ಇವಾಗ.
ಖಂಡಿತ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಮಾತು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು.
ಕಲೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂತ. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಮೀಡಿಯಾ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮೀಡಿಯಾ ರೋಲ್ ಇಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ಎ ಕೆಟಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಅಷ್ಟೇನೆ. ಮೀಡಿಯಾ ಕೆನಾಟ್ ಟೇಕ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ಟು ಎ ಲಾಜಿಕಲ್ ಎಂಡ್. ಎವ್ರಿ ಇಶ್ಯೂನ ನಾವು ಲಾಜಿಕಲ್ ಎಂಡ್ ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತೀವಿ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಸಾಧ್ಯನೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅದು ನಾಟ್ ಪಾಸಿಬಲ್.
ಓಕೆ, ಆದ್ರಿಂದ ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ, ಈಗ ಬಯೋ ಪಾರ್ಕ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟೆಲ್ಲ ಹಾಹಾಕಾರ ಆಗಿದ್ದು, ಯಾರೋ ಬಂದ್ ಲಾಯರ್ ಅದು PA ಹಾಕಿದ್ದು, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಇದರ ತಾವ್ ಹೇಳಿದಾಗೆ ಸ್ಟೇಕ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ಸ್ ಆದ್ರು ಇವರೆಲ್ಲ ಅನುಕೂಲ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಇದು ನಿಮ್ ಗಮನಕ್ಕೆ?
Thank you, sir. Indeed, a sense of belongingness, sense of responsibility will help us to protect and improve the environment. And use of technology is something we can use it and for the environmental management. And ma'am, may I please ask you the next question?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah. Huge number of trees and branches are being cut without bringing notice of the same to the BESCOM. Is there any board to control this?
There is a strict rule. Cholapanavar, I mentioned, no, BBMP. There is a tree officer. Without his permission, trees are not being cut. But see, what happens is during rainy season, we see even human tragedies because of branches falling or tree uprooting. So at that time, they had to take quick decisions. When tragedy hits us, naturally we had to do something. Panic modally, it looks as though BBMP or authorities are not they are not taking wise decision. No, it is not so. To get a tree trimmed or branches trimmed or a cut, you need to go through tree officer only. It is a strict. There is a strict procedure is there. I have been there. I did a program on that the tree officer. I spent at least 3-4 hours understanding what are the methods process involved. It's not easy to get permission, but because of public pressure idella. Otherwise BBMP, but tree census agilla nodi, they have money. BBMP has money, but some are the other excuses we are getting not to go ahead with the census.
Okay.
And I honestly feel even BBMP officials feel that BBMP has to do it. It has to take the responsibility. It cannot hand over the tree census responsibility to some NGO and say that, yes, it's outsourced. If at all the matter goes to court, who will answer then? If the issue of tree census, if something is questioned in court of law, then it is BBMP which has to answer. So everything cannot be outsourced. They need to find a solution how to make it scientific, this tree census.
Ma'am, a further question in regard to this question. Say if at all I see a tree being uprooted at the side of the road, whom I can inform the same, how the action can be taken?
BBMP, there is a section for tree officer antane idare. There is a section to handle tree issue in Bangalore.
Okay, thank you.
One need to call or register complaint. Even if you call sign, their phone or this one, they will attend to it.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Harsha, you may ask a question.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I have a question. Ma'am, we talk of rejuvenating lakes, protecting our lakes. So where does the fresh water comes to our lake? We have these many lakes around us, like 200 or something, 210. So government is giving facility of sanitary supply for each houses. It collects, but why the government is not collecting rainwater and it is channelizing to these lakes? So like people evade rainwater harvesting because there are some pros and cons. Like people think of their column may be harmed, like the lifespan of the house may decrease if they invest in rainwater. So why can't government collect this rainwater and channelize it to these lakes?
ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಡ್ರೈನೇಜ್ ಇರೋದಲ್ಲ ಬ್ಯಾಂಗ್ಳೂರ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಓಪನ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಮ್ ಡ್ರೈನ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇಟ್ ಲೀಡ್ಸ್ ಟು ವ್ಯಾಲೀಸ್ only. It is doing, but the problem is that people dump plastic. They dump house garbage and then construction material. Everything is dumped in channels, so it gets choked. It's see, Bangalore, a lot of valleys are there. If you go to Hebbal side, there are 5 lakes. Mr. Renuka Prasad will know much better than me. And they're all like, if one lake is filled, then it flows to the next. It is a chain. It's a chain. Jakkur, Rachenhalli, and 3 more are there. The thing is that we have choked each and every valley and stormwater drains. Where does water flow? It can't. So if you are not responsible citizen, then the government will insist you please take care of your water requirement. We are pushing even government. I mean, there is a sort of feeling that, those who are on the government side, they don't have any concern for environment. No, it is not so. I have worked, I have interacted, I have done a lot of stories sitting with them. They do, but their constraints also, the public should take, that's what me and Mr. Renuka Prasad were discussing. Public takes, why do we have to dump garbage in open storm drains? It gets choked. That's the biggest problem we have. If we stop dumping wherever we fancy, see, simple thing like forget rainwater harvesting. We had to segregate wet and dry waste. How many of us are doing? You can count. How many of us are discarding face mask in a scientific way? We are just dumping it in regular garbage. So this is where the problem comes. We don't own anything. We are not a responsible citizen. Majority of us.
Ma'am, I have another question.
Sure.
There are schemes coming up from the government side, and public is mongering for these expressways, outer ring roads. Many trees have been cut.
Yeah.
So why people are not aware? Like why they are not mongering for urban forests?
Why people are not?
Like they are not mongering for urban forests.
That is a debate today we have, see, look at the metro. Metro said we are going to cut some thousands of trees being cut and they are supposed to grow elsewhere, saplings. None of us has seen where they're growing this alternative, this one. We don't know. Unless we raise questions, we don't get answers. We need to ask questions to get answers. So if people say ring road, when we had roads in Bangalore, then we went for outer ring road, then we had peripheral road, then OOR. Beyond all these two, this one we have every road. After cutting trees and making way for roads, we have vehicles being parked, lorries, trucks. So even movement of vehicles is difficult. So we create infrastructure to misuse. It's all taxpayers' money. When trees are cut, it was, see, during Ramakrishna Hegde time, I'm told a lot of greenery, efforts were done. If that was to be implemented, then the city would have been much, much better. But unfortunately, it was given up due to political pressure. Even he got involved in some, his names were dragged in some land scams. So that tree cover, this one issue was not taken forward. We don't have people who think in terms of, greenery. It's one Yellappa Reddy or one Dr. Renuka Prasad or so. I mean, of course, there are many others who are doing good job, but you can count them on your fingers. People don't ask. If a tree is cut, they will just see, they will be concerned whether they can pass through that stretch, that's all, whether they can take out their vehicle. If their vehicle movement is blocked, then they will think about it, otherwise they don't bother.
Thank you, ma'am. And last question, maybe, if at all anybody doesn't have the question. You spoke about the role of media. You spoke that the sustainable coverage, and you further elaborate on a point that how media can play a role effectively, or is it playing an effective role in protecting and improving the environment or conserving the biodiversity or anything related to your environment?
Definitely, but for media, I don't think Bangalore University issue could have gone to the stage. I have seen so many paper clippings, very good coverage. Bangalore University, the media has stood by Bangalore University side, and I hardly saw the other side, constraints being explained. So sometimes we take stand also for our own survival. Because we are also citizens, and look at Ganga. When river Ganga was getting polluted during COVID time, it was highlighted across the world actually. So media is doing a lot of, but may not be sufficient. If you ask a sports person, I'm such a successful person, why are you not giving coverage on page 1? Then we media people don't have answer. Our priority will be something, every day there will be a lot of good stories, bad stories. We need to balance it. So media is doing a very good job. It can do much better. Sustained coverage we have to go. See, media, newspapers or television channels don't, as I have seen, they don't focus much on development issues. That pattern, that format is different. But newspapers are giving good coverage. As long as, GKVK got very good coverage, Steel Flyover, all this, they very good coverage. But these days, we use a lot of social media for everything. But through social media also, many subjects, many questions are raised, but it is yet to make an impact like mass media. Though even social media has become mass media now, but still like conventional media, it is yet to make impact. Media is doing, but all those people, those journalists who are covering the environment, ecology, they are not subject experts. So there the problem comes, if they have become too friendly with, I had that problem. I saw some journalists becoming very close to forest officers. It is not for their benefit they are there. It is when we become, see, media, this one is that we should not become too proximity, that will curtail our freedom. Unfortunately, those who are on forest and ecology, all these beats, they become very cozy with officials or NGOs. So there the balanced view goes missing. It's not that every time NGOs are right, every time government is wrong. I told you, that Supreme Court example I gave. Supreme Court said that there should be no encroachment in reserve forests. So it has to take action. Government has to take action. But at that time, whole media stood by some activists, unfortunately. But later, minister himself, the speaker himself, assembly speaker himself said, yes, I visited the spot. And now I understand the government problem. Yes, do some alternative land you give. By that time, media had given so much, it gave one-sided coverage, it became.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. If there are no questions, since there are no hands being raised, now okay, Renuka Prasad sir, unmute yourself.
Anusha?
Sunita ma'am, please.
Yeah, I have one small question.
Yeah,
Like regarding the transplantation of trees, will it help
Yes.
in the tree conservation program, and how much it is efficient in Bangalore?
I didn't see many success stories, ma'am. I didn't see many success stories. It is a good effort, but we can't expect the end result to be positive also. It's an effort which is being made, and I mean, there is no audit being done as to how many trees being translocated have survived.
Ma'am, with respect to this metro, a lot of trees are removed. So
Yes.
I have seen here and there few articles where few trees are being transplanted.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'm not having the data. And if you're having any data or something like this, you can just enlighten us.
Yeah, I mean, exact numbers I don't have. I can get from the PRO and I'll share later. That's not an issue because they had to give an account to BBMP. They can't cut trees without BBMP permission. See, even this issue, particular issue, yes, trees are being massacred, trees are being cut. But when you look at the pollution we are creating, I mean, we are allowing in Bangalore city by taking out private vehicles. Individuals, we are traveling by car, two-wheelers. When you mass transit always should get priority over private vehicle movement. So when you look at the longer benefits, metro or public transport is a solution. So some price we have to pay. And it is not that all BMRCL officials are against trees. They have tried their they look at the beauty. They did underground tunnel in the heart of that is Central College. Not a single tree, a building got. They are doing a good job. But I feel that citizens can also compliment them when they do good work. What we need to know from BMRCL is if you are cutting 5,000, 6,000 trees, where alternatively you are growing, that we had to question them. They had to show some proof that, and also in city, heart of the city, we are cutting trees. If you are growing 100 kilometers away, how far it is going to benefit? City, Bangalore city. Of course, anywhere trees are welcome, isn't it? But if they are growing away from the city, how does it help? That's yes, trees are being cut, but do we have an alternative? Because the city is not a planned city. We are imitating, we are taking all development models from Western countries now. We are trying to, our life has changed. We are, not leading what we were about 50, 60 years ago. We need public transport, but when we are doing public transport, how do we strike balance? That is the question before us.
Thank you, Sunita ma'am, for the question. Renuka Prasad sir, please unmute yourself and ask the question. Renuka Prasad sir, you are still on mute. No, not audible. Yes.
One second. ಈಗ BMRC ಕ್ಯಾಂಪಸ್ಗೆ ಬಂದು ಗಿಡ ಮರಗಳು ಬೆಳೆಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಇನ್ನೂ 3 ಲಕ್ಷ 4 ಲಕ್ಷ ಇಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೂ ಸ್ಕೋಪ್ ಇದೆ. ಈಗ ಹೀರೋ ಮೋಟರ್ಸ್ನವ್ರು ಬಂದು 1 ಲಕ್ಷ ಇಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟಿಂಗ್ 4 ಪ್ಯಾಚಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರೇ ಮೇಂಟೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದನೋ ಬಂದು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಮ್ಮ BMRC ಈಗಲೂ ಬಂದು ಅವ್ರು ಇಷ್ಟಪಟ್ಟರೆ ಈಗಿನ ಅಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳಿಂದ ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ತಗೊಂಡು ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗಿಯೂ ಒಂದು 4-5 ಲಕ್ಷ ಇಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಉಪಯೋಗ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ತಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ. ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಸಿಂಕ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಮತ್ತೆ ನೀರನ್ನು ಹೀರ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತೆ, ತಂಪಾದ ವಾತಾವರಣ ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ. ಫಲ ಮಾತ್ರ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸಣ್ಣದಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ತಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ವಿ ನೀಡ್ ಮೋರ್ ಕೂಲರ್ ಅಟ್ಮಾಸ್ಫಿಯರ್. ಆ ಕೆಲಸ ಆಗಲಿ ಅಂತ ಬಯಸ್ತೀನಿ ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ. ಹಾಗೇನೆ ತಾವೊಂದು ವೆಬ್ಸೈಟ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಿ, BUBpark.com ಅಂತ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ. ಅದನ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಗುರುಪ್ರಸಾದ್ ಅಂತ. ಬಹುಶಃ ಇಲ್ಲಿರ್ಬೋದು. ಗುರುಪ್ರಸಾದ್ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ? ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ನಾನು IT ಪರ್ಸನ್ ಅವ್ರು ರಿಕ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. he is redesigning and reworking on it.
Yeah.
ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ತಾವು ಹೇಳಿದಾಗೆ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯದ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಗಿಡ, ಮರ, ಪಕ್ಷಿ, ಪತಂಗಗಳ ಲಿಸ್ಟು ಈ ಎಲ್ಲವನ್ನು ತರೋ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ. ಎಷ್ಟು ಲೀಟ್ರು ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತರ್ಜಲಕ್ಕೆ ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ತಂದಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಒಂದೊಂದು ಬ್ರಾಡ್ ಹೆಡಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತಂದಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಅದನ್ನು ಅಪ್ಡೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಈ 1-2 ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ ಈ ಕೆಲಸ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಹಾಗೇನೆ ನಮ್ಮ ವಿಷಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಓದಿದಂತಹ ಒಬ್ಬ ಹುಡುಗ IT ಫೆಲೋ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾನೆ. ಈಗ ಅವನು ಕೂಡ ಗೂಗಲ್ ರೂಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾಪಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಟ್ಟು ತಾವು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಇಳಿಬೇಕು, ಮೊದಲನೇ ವಿಸಿಟಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಯಾವ್ದಾಗಬೇಕು, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ, ಎರಡನೇದು ಏನ್ ನೋಡ್ಬಹುದು ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಬರುವಂತ ಒಂದು ಕೆಲಸ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಮೂರನೇದು ಒಂದು ಜಿಯೋ ಟೂರ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಶಾಲಾ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಕರಿತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಒಂದು 25,000 ಜನ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಬಂದೋಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಸಂತೋಷ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇದನ್ನು ಮುಂದುವರ್ಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಲಿ ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಮ್ಮ ಎಲ್ಲರ ಬಯಕೆ ಆಗಿರ್ಲಿ. ಕೊನೆಯದಾಗಿ ಆಗ್ಲೇ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದನ್ನ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪೇಷನ್ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಜನಾಂದೋಲನ ಆಗ್ಲೇಬೇಕು, ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಉಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬೆಳೆಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅನುಕೂಲ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ.
Thank you, Prasad ji. It is indeed informative. May I call Dr. Parmesh sir? I request Parmesh sir to propose formal vote of thanks.
ನಮ್ಮ ಗುರು ಪ್ರಸಾದ್ ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ.
ಕೇಳಾಯ್ತು ಸರ್, ಅವ್ರ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಕೇಳಾಯ್ತು.
ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಓಕೆ.
ಮತ್ತೊಮ್ಮೆ ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಇವತ್ತು ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ ಸೀರೀಸ್ ನ 8ನೇ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ. ನಮ್ಮ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಆಶಾ ಕೃಷ್ಣಮೂರ್ತಿ ಅವರು ಬಹಳ ಅದ್ಭುತವಾಗಿ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಕ್ಯಾಂಪಸ್ ಬಯೋಡೈವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರ ಮಟ್ಟದ ಕೂಡ ಕೆಲವು ವಿಚಾರಗಳನ್ನ ಬಹಳ ಅರ್ಥಗರ್ಭಿತವಾಗಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಎಲ್ಲ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಎಲ್ಲ ಎನ್ವೈರನ್ಮೆಂಟಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಹಾಗೂ ಈ ನೇಚರ್ ಕನ್ಸರ್ವೇಷನ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಆಸಕ್ತಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಎಲ್ಲರ ಗಮನವನ್ನ ಸೆಳೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಹಾಗೂ ರೋಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ಸ್, ಯೂತ್ಸ್, ಯಂಗ್ಸ್ಟರ್ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಇದನ್ನ ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಮುಂದೆ ಬರಬೇಕು ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ವಿಚಾರವನ್ನ ಬಹಳ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ವಿಚಾರವನ್ನ ತಿಳಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರಿಗೆ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯ ವತಿಯಿಂದ ಹಾಗೂ KLE ಕಾಲೇಜ್ ವತಿಯಿಂದ ಹಾಗೂ ತಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಪರವಾಗಿ ನಾನು ಅಭಿನಂದನೆಗಳನ್ನ ಸಲ್ಲಿಸ್ತೀನಿ. ಹಾಗೆ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಹಿರಿಯರಾದಂತಹ ಯಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ ರೆಡ್ಡಿ ಅವರು ಪ್ಯಾನೆಲ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರಕ್ಕಾಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಅವರು ಕೂಡ ಭಾಗಿಯಾಗಿ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ವಿಚಾರವನ್ನ ಮಂಡನೆಯನ್ನ ಅವರು ಕೂಡ ಭಾಗಿಯಾಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವ್ರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ತಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಪರವಾಗಿ ನಾನು ಅಭಿನಂದನೆಗಳನ್ನ ಸಲ್ಲಿಸ್ತೀನಿ. ಹಾಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಹಿರಿಯರಾದಂತಹ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ರೇಣುಕಾ ಪ್ರಸಾದ್ ಅವರು ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಬಹಳ ಅರ್ಥಪೂರ್ಣವಾಗಿ ಮೂಡಿ ಬರಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅವರು ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಸಲಹೆಗಳನ್ನ ಹಾಗೂ ಪ್ಯಾನಲ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ವಾಲ್ವ್ ಆಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಯಶಸ್ವಿ ಆಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾರಣಕರ್ತರಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಹಾಗೆ ಬಯೋಡೈವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಉಳಿಬೇಕು, ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಇನ್ನೂ ಗ್ರೀನ್ ಉಳಿಬೇಕು ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ದೃಢ ಸಂಕಲ್ಪದಿಂದ ಈ ತರ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಹಮ್ಮಿಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾರಣಕರ್ತರಾಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯ ಪರವಾಗಿ ಹಾಗೂ ತಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಪರವಾಗಿ ನಾನು ಅಭಿನಂದನೆಗಳನ್ನ ಸಲ್ಲಿಸ್ತೀನಿ. ಹಾಗೆ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೋಆರ್ಡಿನೇಟರ್ ಆಗಿ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಸುನೀತಾ ಅವರು ನಮ್ಮ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಆಶಾ ಕೃಷ್ಣಮೂರ್ತಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಸಲಹೆಗಳು ಕೂಡ ಅವ್ರು ಕೂಡ ನೀಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವ್ರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ನಾನು ಅಭಿನಂದನೆಗಳನ್ನು ಸಲ್ಲಿಸ್ತೀನಿ. ಕಾಲೇಜಿನ ಪ್ರಾಂಶುಪಾಲರಾದಂತಹ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ JM ಮಲ್ಲಿಕಾರ್ಜುನ ಅವ್ರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ನಾನು ಅಭಿನಂದನೆಗಳನ್ನು ತಿಳಿಸ್ತೀನಿ. ಹಾಗೆ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಅನುಷಾ ಅವರು, ತನ್ಮಯ್ ಪಾಟೀಲ್ ಹಾಗೂ ಅವರ ತಂಡದ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸದಸ್ಯರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ನಾನು ಅಭಿನಂದನೆಗಳನ್ನ ತಿಳಿಸ್ತೀನಿ. ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ವಿಶೇಷವಾಗಿ ರೋಹಿಣಿ ಮುಂಡೇಜಿ ಅವರು, ಹಿರಿಯ ಪತ್ರಕರ್ತರಾದಂತಹ RP ಸಾಂಬ ಸದಾಶಿವ ರೆಡ್ಡಿ ಅವರು, ಕೆರೆ ಮಂಜುನಾಥ್ ಕೂಡ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವ್ರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ನಾನು ಅಭಿನಂದನೆಗಳನ್ನ ಸಲ್ಲಿಸ್ತೀನಿ. ಹಾಗೆ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ನೇರವಾಗಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಪರಿಸರ ಪ್ರೇಮಿಗಳು, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಹಿರಿಯ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್, ಹಾಗೆ ವಿಚಾರವಂತರು ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ, ಹಾಗೆ ಮೀಡಿಯಾ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಕೂಡ ಭಾಗಿಯಾಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವ್ರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಆತ್ಮೀಯವಾಗಿ ಅಭಿನಂದನೆಗಳನ್ನ ತಿಳಿಸ್ತಾ, ನಾಳೆ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ 5 ಗಂಟೆಗಿದೆ. ಕೆರೆ ಮಂಜುನಾಥ್ ಅವರು ನಾಳೆ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತನಾಡಲಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ನಾಳೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಭೇಟಿ ಮಾಡೋಣ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ವಿಚಾರವನ್ನು ತಿಳಿಸಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಮುಕ್ತಾಯ ಮಾಡೋಣ. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರಗಳು ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ. ವಂದನೆ.
Thanks for everybody. Bye.
Special thanks,
Thank you,
madam.
Dr. Nayak. Yes, ma'am. Indeed,
Thank you, sir.
very kind enough to answer all the questions patiently, and there was a little glitch in the beginning, but it is a successful ending, we can say.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Okay, thank you, Nisha.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye. I also thank Aishwarya Patil for Aishwarya Sharma for hosting this program and streaming it online. I thank all the KLE students. I especially thank Shubhangi Chand and Aisari Bhatt, student rapporteurs here, and Harsha Haveri and Pragati for volunteering this particular webinar. I thank one and all. We can end the meeting now.